Hey everybody, it is your suburban garden permaculture style guy, at least for the time being. I wanted to talk about my citrus and our goals for the coming season and maybe some expectations and things like that. These citrus trees have done really well in these pots so far. Uh, I like what's happening here, and what I wanted to talk to you about was the size of these pots and how well they are doing. The video I'd started of these was a year ago, and I think it was on Facebook. I think my oldest video here, you'll see from a year ago, this right before the pandemic. These were nowhere near like this. So these were just bought during that time, and I up-potted them from what I got them from Home Depot to these larger pots. Actually, let me turn around and show you these pots that we had bought. These are not 25 gallon. I don't even know what these are. 15 maybe, 12. I'm not even sure. But they have a really sharp taper, a little well at the bottom. And we had bought bagged soil from Home Depot. We had to get a bunch, so we just got the cheapest stuff they had. I thought, well, I can just amend the top and everything worked down. Well, the bags of stuff were actually mostly like wood chips, and it was horrible. It packed. It didn't. It had you had to actually keep adding nitrogen fertilizer because I knew it was just pulling all the nitrogen out of any soil that was there was all those wood chips that was in it. I mean, it was just really just wood chips. So they kind of struggled, even though I did things to make it work. And I was able to do that and get them to thrive, even in those poor conditions. Now, I up-potted to these big bad boys. It's been a few months back. Again, I don't keep up with the dates and stuff. It's all in the middle. It's in the middle of summer. Let's say when it was like 100 degrees, because I almost had a heat stroke out here doing it. But I ordered 5 of these 25-gallon pots off of eBay for like $100. And again, that was this year, 2020. It was probably $50 for the 5 pots, and it's basically $50 for the shipping, because 5 of these comes in a box that I know for a fact would cost $50 just for the size of the box. Dimensional shipping weight on UPS. That's a large shipping box. Right off the bat, it's $50. Even though these don't weigh anything, so they probably, basically these were less than $50, and it's $50 for shipping. So it's $100 for 5 25-gallon pots. Anywho, that's where and why and how we came across these. And I put together a better soil mix than what I originally had. And even though these plants suffered in this poor mix and everything, and they just went through a transplant here just a few months ago with fruit on them in every case, and this one didn't recover very well from it. It took a lot of transplant shock from that. Overall, for having these trees, these 3 here, 3, that we've had for just about a year exactly, we've had spectacular results. When we got these trees, and I wanted to also do this video because I had told Texas Prepper 2, TP2 on YouTube, that I was going to take this little video of the stalk, because he had a side shoot coming off, a sucker coming off of his, and he wasn't sure if he was going to cut it or leave it. And I told him that, mine had did that too, and it actually has really widened the trunk of the tree right there, as you can see. And I can't tell you if this is rootstock or not. I don't actually probably want to keep those, but that is the branch it produced. And as I had told him in a comment, that was actually the most productive branch on the tree this year. So that's our big cluster. I did support it. That was a big, bad, awesome branch right there. And I like that low down structure because I try to keep things short anyway. When we first got these, I cut most of these trees off. What was here, this is a huge cut. I don't know if y'all are even seeing it because I got a phone sideways, but there's a huge cut here. And I cut most of these trees off. All this stuff is stuff I grew in this year. So all this is sucker growth off of that, and this is an original branch, I believe. And some of this other stuff isn't. Obviously this and stuff isn't. And it fruited, and it did really well, and it's grown a lot. And that's even before it's even gotten these pots. And what I'm excited about is what I'm going to get out of these pots. They haven't even started growing into these pots. The only ones I have that are in something like this that I can show you as an example of why I'm excited about what's going to happen to these is this avocado. This avocado, what can I say about this? It looks like it's about to flower, and we're going into winter. First of all, Mexicola Grande, supposed to be super cold, hardy, colder than it should ever get here in DFW, but we could get it occasionally. But that's okay. I'm prepared. I got a greenhouse just in case, even though I don't ever leave it closed, except for a couple of nights so far when it froze overnight. But this is called cabbage heading. I'm not an avocado farmer, and I didn't go to college or nothing, but I know the term cabbage heads applies to their flowers, and that there looks like cabbage head, so I'm going to say that's cabbage head. So it's getting ready to flower. Now I'm hoping it'll just hold on to these structures until more appropriate springtime. It's not that hot in here. It's hot out here because it's hot in Texas right now. Even though it freezes at night, it's really warm in here. I could get a sunburn in here. I think it's tricking the plants, obviously, and the daylight hours are short because it's still winter, and yet the plant is almost reacting like it's the springtime instead of the fall, if you get what I'm saying. It's like it's flowering in the fall and then go through the winter. That don't make a lot of sense biologically to me. So it's probably being tricked by the weather or something. Or I'm just jumping the gun and it's just going to hold on to these structures. But point being that I came to make was how amazing this plant has done in a year. I had this one. This one's probably 6-7 months older than these other ones. So almost a, half a year, a little bit more than half a year older that I've had it. Almost a year. And when I got it, it was a gift from a cousin, and we really appreciate that, Kev. This is the original plant he had them mail me. He ordered it online for me, and it was this trunk that followed up to this stick, right? This brownish black one right here. This is the original tree that was sold to him and traveled to me. Let's see here, right there. Okay, making sure y'all can see it. This is the original, and I had cut it back. I always cut back trees when I get them, guys. I like to make them short. So that original cutback, he paid $100 for that whip. It was called a whip. It was with shipping. I don't know what he paid. But that's what you can expect to pay for stuff like this. Since he sent me this, coming up on 2 years ago now, right? And I've up potted this 3 times. So this is its third and final pot, and it's been in this for a year, at least a year. Look what it's done since that 1 year. All of this, that whole head. All right. So all of that you see above it. I'm trying to pull these other branches out of your way so you don't have to see them. I had structurally held this up a long time ago just to make sure I got some solidness, and as you can see, all this stuff is new growth. All this is amazingly a lot larger than this original central. This thing is actually dying back, as you can tell. This ain't even the central. This sucker, this water sucker, what do you call them, water shoots, it was growing up so fantastically early on that I topped it. I wasn't going to let it get too tall because I want it to branch. It's going to hold fruit, and I need to be short and stocky to hold heavy fruit, because you get this on fruit trees. If your fruit trees have been bearing fruit, they're going to look like a weeping willow. And if you see stuff that ain't weeping willow, it ain't never borne no fruit, I can tell you that, right? Because anything that bears fruit droops. So you want to build strong structures and not wispy structures before like things get too long like this. I'm letting this grow just because this one was, wasn't growing very well at first, but it's taking off amazing now. So I let it grow a little crazy, but I'm going to bring that back down. I don't need all this. I'm going to try to do some clones off of this, to be honest with you, but I'm going to be wham. This is coming back down and letting it start over, because right now I have, sorry to whip the camera around. I'm really trying to concentrate on that. It's just too long to be having these massive things hanging on it. It's going to do this. Look, my fingers there's too much length on there. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to cut that back to like right here. Then it'll regrow thicker and stronger. You do that with all my trees. I always try to sculpt the trees. And you should think about stuff like that. There's a little bit of overlap. This is a little too thick. I'm letting this happen on purpose because I'm trying to get a bigger tree going. And you can still see the original graft lines and stuff right here from where they were grafted. So this tree has done amazing in a year. Can you imagine what these citruses are going to do? These suckers, all this is since I transplanted this top stuff. I'm expecting big things, and I'm really excited about it. We finally started letting our kitties out, unsupervised more or less, and we were overprotective for so long that we've actually got like a little anxiety in them. They'll leave and they come back. They leave and they know we don't want them to leave. So when we suddenly started letting them leave, they're very cautious to make sure they let us know they're still here. So I think we accidentally trained them really well by being hover parents for a while. So that worked out good. Anyway, back to this. And that's, by the way, that's Grunt, and it's spelled G''RUNT. He's a runt of the litter, but he's still a G. That's G-Runt. So right here, these look nice, right? Look at there. Bam. Bam. Again, this tree, if you'll notice, is kind of leaning. And I've been noticing, it's actually getting really heavy. The tree wasn't doing that great until I transplanted in this massive, you know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I bet the thing just went dang sideways for a minute. I hate this. This is a phone. It doesn't change orientations while I'm recording. Sorry. This thing has started to flourish in this transplant that I did for it, but it's flourishing into the fruit. The fruit has started swelling and doing amazing things with ripening. It's like, whoa. But the tree was the slowest growing one of them all before I transplanted them. And so now it's suffering. It's now recuperating, but it didn't have the structure in place. So you see the lean. It's almost like that original root ball can't take this weight. It's a timing issue of how plants are growing. This tree is doing so amazingly, flourishingly well in a year in this pot that there's just so many amazing things coming, and I'm stoked to show you that. 25-gallon pots are huge when it comes to citrus, when it comes to keeping them in pots. You can find them cheap in some places. I know that's not super cheap, but I got 5 of them. I ain't even used them all. I had found, and the reason I knew to buy them, because we had found 2 25-gallon pots in the trash around the corner. Somebody had thrown out a bunch of huge nursery pots and some small stuff. I mean, we got a lot of good supplies out of it. We've been growing gardens out of it. I guess the Rottweiler or something had chewed through some of the plastics, so they threw them out. I don't mind that. Y'all didn't even know. Y'all wouldn't know that it was happening if I didn't tell you. And here's the thing. This one was the same way. This was one of them. So we already had 2 that we had gotten for free. And you see there's dog chews, and it wasn't Hank. This is the way we got them. And there's some chews on the other side. I don't know if you can see it. I have actually 1 or 2 more of these, but one of them's tore, and we can actually repair it. But we got them in reserve, and I still have some of my brand new ones in reserve because I have bought 5 and I'm used 3. So yeah, and I still have 1 citrus that's still in one of these pots, and this is a little bit smaller, but it was planted. I'll let it up. It was planted so high up in the pot that I had it so full of soil that it's actually using the capacity of that pot a lot better than these other ones were, which was one of the reasons I transplanted them. They had sank down way low into the pot, like way lower than that, on that terrible soil I told you about, the wood chips. So, you know, it was like time to pot something super big. We're going to keep these things. These guys had done so well that this was the thing. But Texas Pepper 2, sir, I did want to show you that. I did actually forget to show you that. But you had talked about that water chute right there. And that's my result right there. And those are the massivest, I don't know, that's obviously not a word. The massivest, the most massive oranges on here. Here's a more mature branch that was on probably some of the original wood when I bought it. And it flowered, and it set 1 little fruit. Some of them fell off. You can see they just didn't make it. And this 1 fruit that did set on this whole branch is just a little fruit. But the ones on that sucker are swollen like those mandarins. I'm going to come over here in my inexpensive greenhouse and show you that these are, and that thing's going to fall. It's okay if it falls. You can see the navels and everything. This is a nice huge cluster of large fruit on that's all on that water chute right there. So, oops, sorry. Put it back there. And then this one was more or less a water chute. I want you to notice this is a green shoot that's coming this branch. I don't know how close you are. I do apologize. And see, this is 1 fruit. These green shoots seem to put on larger fruit than the more established would, in my opinion. So far, my opinion isn't worth anything yet because I haven't been doing this long. Again, that's where I had cut it originally there. I cut it back way up here. As you can see, some old cuts up in here. I think you can. Can't tell what y'all can see at this point. There you are. And then I had cut it back real hard right here, up in here. And then that big shoots like this that come out. See, this one hasn't bore fruit yet. Once it does, it'll hang. This grew after the fruit set. So it never grew any fruit yet. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show y'all. I'm really excited about this. These 25-gallon pots is a huge size for trees. I expect if that avocado trees are already that big, and you can see how the Meyer lemon's doing, by the way. I haven't even got over there. Meyer lemon's a beast. That I know that all these other things can do really, really well in this 25-gallon size pot for at least 3 years, right? At least 3 or 4 years. And the production, even off this small one, before it ever even got in this pot, this production is not part of this pot, basically, at all. We've been eating a mandarin or 2 a day for several days. There was at least 56 or 60 mandarins on that tree. That's enough for us to eat 1 or 2 mandarins, at least 1 of them a day for 50 days, 50 or 60 days, and 2, obviously, for half of that. So I come out here to eat some every day. And just as a reminder, I started just leaving the whole flesh on there. I was like, well, it's kind of a reminder of where they were. Because when you pull them off, you can't get it to pull off right anyway. It's just going to tear it off. So you just pop. And everybody who's ever grown them has seen that. I think it's kind of cute. And it's not, but if you didn't think I was weird, I don't know what to tell you. So the key lime has been doing really good in that little pot. So has the Meyer lemon in the big 25. And it grew like a Medusa because it had died before and it wasn't a central trunk anymore. And apparently it wasn't a grafted tree, it was just on its own. So that's that. 25-gallon pots. More than enough to get you where you're going. I don't know how these compare to those mineral buckets that Texas Pepper 2 uses at all. But I believe those are probably 20-25 gallons as well. But if that's the size you got, and then you're going to do really well. Even these smaller ones here ain't bad at all, as you can tell. This plant is very vigorous in this somewhat smaller 15-ish to 18-gallon, 17-gallon pot. Even it's all the way up there. And it's not struggling, really. So, yeah, and the avocado is making me proud. That is a beautiful avocado tree right now. So lush in there. I'm just like, oh, my God. And it's looking like it's going to flower out everywhere. Which I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. So we'll still see what happens. I'll for sure still letting you know something exciting does happen on that. Getting ready to move. I'm just got stuff out here trying to take pictures and sell it on the internet. Everything else is looking raggedy. Hey, quit rubbing on stuff. Oh my goodness. I guess I didn't mention I just got the greenhouse up because of the frost. I guess I did mention it. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. So, yep. We'll see how it goes. All right. We'll talk to you later.